Style takes too long. I can't fit anything. I have nothing in this closet. Oh, I'll just stay home. I need to purge my closet. Oh, but not that dress. Yo, Taylor here. If you ever thought to say one of these phrases, then this show is for you. Join me at the Style Table, where we'll have candid and fun conversations about real women's style issues and wardrobe dilemmas. We will discuss solutions and ideas that will give you a big sigh of relief. You'll learn ways to save money, make money, and enrich the lives of others with the clothes in your closet. We're going to take the stress out of your style. Hey everybody, it's Yo Taylor back here at the Style Table. I'm here with the lovely Sharri Watkins. She is the CEO of 4 Dimensions Consulting Group. She's here to talk to us all things HR. Welcome to the show, Sharri.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
So first off, you're an HR, I'll say guru. Mm-hmm. Tell us how you help clients deal with their HR situations, problems, solutions. How do you deliver those goods to them and services?
Absolutely. So I help small to mid-sized businesses improve their productivity and meet their objectives in the first 45 days of me working with them. And it's usually through employee training. It's through consulting and coaching. I do speaking engagements where I will come in and speak about a hot HR topic or a topic that the employer's having an issue with. So it could be DEI, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion. It could be sexual harassment. It could be leadership training. And I do that talk, and then we talk again about making it a class. So I'll go in and do a 4 to 8 hour class with a group of employees. I include a lot of interaction and team building in those exercises and those workshops. And that's what I do.
So you do workshops, so you do with groups of people too. So like groups of company, like if there's a convention, you do like whole big workshops for conventions, or do you do a lot of one-on-ones with companies, or which do you do mostly?
So it's not really mostly either of them. It's like a balance. It's probably 50-50. So I've spoken at conventions, typically HR conventions, where I'll go in and I'll speak to a group of 70 or more people. And I've done smaller groups, classrooms of like maybe 25 to 30 people, where I'm actually teaching a class. And like I said, there'll be activities where they can interact with each other. And I do believe that the most effective training is when the employees can participate, because if you're sitting there just lecturing the entire time, eventually their attention span is going to take them somewhere else, and it's going to lose focus on what the message is. So it's important to also include the interaction in the training.
So when you're doing that interaction, so what are some of the problems that people typically have when they're running their business and they do have employee issues? What are some of the typical things that companies mainly have a problem with?
Some of the typical things would include turnover, how to reduce turnover and to retain their talent. Another issue is the DEI piece, getting employees to embrace differences. And actually, that's probably the number one issue, the DEI piece. Then I would say, I would say that's first. Then the other issue is turnover. And I will say that DEI leads to turnover, because if people don't feel valued, they will leave organizations. And then the last thing I would say is leadership. Leadership is a big issue, with leaders being comfortable handling conflict resolution type issues. So employers look for people to come in and help them with leadership training.
Oh, okay, excellent. And I'm sure you're getting a lot with great resignation. So I'm sure that's a hot topic. How do you retain?
Yes, that is a hot topic, but ironically, I am really getting people, or my clients are asking me, and even new people are reaching out to me about asking me to speak about DEI. And like I was saying before, DEI and retention and turnover right now, those go hand in hand. And it's because, people want to be accepted as individuals and not be characterized or judged by what they look like, where they come from, what their religion is. People just want to be treated as individuals. So that plays a huge part in the whole turnover issue because people are leaving for those reasons. Not to mention, the pandemic happened, which is really when the
Right.
big resignation took place. The pandemic happened. So trying to hold on to the talent that you have is the biggest challenge, I would say.
Because with COVID, we were all sitting at home and you realize, I don't have to deal with that or this, or I don't have to put up, I'll start my own. I know me personally, most of my clients are people are in transition. They're leaving their companies
Mhm.
and they're working for themselves. So they're creating their own
That's true.
space. So how
That's
many
true. I
small
actually did.
no, go ahead.
I was just I did a talk, and this one was not for an employer. This one was just for an association where I did a talk the first year of the pandemic. And I was asked to talk about that very thing, and during my research, I found that 2 million people left the workforce in 2020, the beginning of 2020. And it was because people didn't want to deal with it. You had people retire, you had people say, you know what, I'm going to turn my side hustle. Yes, I'm going to turn my side hustle into a full time business. Absolutely. You had people who just said, I don't want to work. And it's still the case now. So, it's the Gen Zs, the younger generation who's saying, I don't want to work. Well, how are you making a living for yourself? And you're finding a lot of these young folks are still living at home with their parents and they may or may not have to work. But if they are
Yeah.
working, they're Ubering. They're doing something just to say, I'm doing something, but quite a few of them just are not working. Not working. So it's going to be interesting to see how the workforce ends up because right now, um, people are really scrambling to hire folks. And you'll notice that a lot of businesses have reduced their hours because they can't service their customer, if you will. So when I say customer, I'm talking about these service industries like restaurants. They've reduced their hours. They've reduced, the number of days that they're open during the week because they just can't service. Or maybe you can't dine in, but you can go through the drive-through to get food.
Exactly.
Yes, the world
So
has turned
there,
up.
and well, I would imagine if you're, especially if you're in a service industry and a restaurant, you find that, probably people, the guy or the gal that's driving Uber, they're probably doing Uber Eats. So you don't have to have your restaurant open as
That's
much.
true.
Yeah.
That's
But
true.
I agree. I think it's kind of temporary. I think that, right now, when you're young, you just have like time on your side. And some of these young people are making a lot of money. So they probably have a nice nest egg and they probably think, because they spend the data shows that millennials on down, they spend more of their money on experiences and less for material things.
That's true. And to go along with that, they look for flexibility in the workplace. So they don't want to work, that typical 9 to 5 because they want to travel. They want to spend time with family and do other things. So I totally agree with that.
That's
Hmm.
that's so different from where, I mean, I came from the airline industry where, especially as a flight attendant, you just kind of like rot off the jump seat. You just like I mean, I retired with 31 years, but there were people like with 50 years going, I think I'll leave now. I'm like, so, so it's a total, and I guarantee you, I think the airline industry is the last dinosaur for that as well. I think people are going to just come and go and do it for a little while and move on like they do with any other companies.
Hmm. I think so. I think it's going to just be across the board over every industry for one reason or another. People are just not willing to do traditional work anymore. I mean, I have a son who's 20 and he's still, figuring out, even though, he's going to community college, he's still figuring out what he wants to do. And I just have to applaud him because he has a job. Plus, every now and then he'll do a DoorDash. So he wants to work, but he's just still trying to identify what he wants to do.
And well, I also applaud him for going to community college because while you're still trying to figure it out, why pay that huge tuition bill when you can go to community college and pay a fraction of the cost until you figure it out,
Exactly.
So, yeah, I think that's very financially savvy to do that. Definitely.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I went to college right after high school and, I changed my major 3 times and I'm still not working in the field that I earned my degree in. My degree is in fashion merchandising, my undergrad degree anyway. And
you are the third person that I have talked to or interviewed that was the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I spent all that money at Michigan State University and then I transferred to Wayne State and finished there. But, you pay for a degree and you're not even using it. I'm using it personally, because I like to dress. But in terms in terms of it being, along the lines of my career, it just didn't happen that way. And it was actually a fluke that I got into human resources. So I love what I do. And I'm happy with what I do, but I wish I would have known, what direction I was going to go in when I was earning my degree. So yeah, I told him, I said, if you really don't know what you want to do, you really need to go to community college, get your gen ed in, and then go from there. You have a little bit of time. And now that he's 20, I said, okay, your time is starting to run out, buddy. You need to make a decision.
Yeah. And now the youngest in our home, they're all gone. They've been gone for a while. He's 29, and so he's been out since he was 23. He got a job and he moved out, and he just, he came back for a moment while he was in between apartments, but it wasn't long. So they do figure it out. I think our kids just figured out, like, we don't want to live with y'all. I think that's what it was, but that's all right. That's all right. That's good for us too. The empty nest thing has been fun. So let's talk about your style, because I know you are a fashionista. You have to show up. You're doing all these big presentations to groups with different companies and businesses that have whole different types of operations, from people who have to show up properly in their uniform. How do they deal with that? And people who are just showing up however they think that they want to show up and me not to.
Absolutely. So I am, as much as I say I love fashion, I keep it pretty simple. So I'm a very neutral tone person. So I will wear black with a splash of color. Today I have on, surprisingly, like this plaid colored shirt. It's only a few colors though, and then a solid blazer, but my bottom is dark, right? So it's either going to be black with this or it's going to be white with this ensemble. If I wear a black dress, I'm going to put on a blazer that has color. So it may be yellow or red or blue or green. But I keep it pretty simple. I do have some dresses that are not black. And in those instances, I'll wear like a neutral tone shoe. But even with my jewelry, I keep it pretty simple, not real flamboyant. I do like to color my hair. So that's probably as flamboyant as I get. Thank you. But I keep it simple and professional.
And so that's been a huge discussion about what is quote unquote professional now. I've been having conversations with women who are just pushing the envelope and saying, I don't want to wear that anymore. I want to show up in my blue hair or whatever they want to do. But you have to tailor it to your audience. And you have to tailor it to your business and your brand as well.
Absolutely. Into the industry, I would never wear blue hair, if maybe if I was in the entertainment business, blue would be professional, but for my specific profession, not to mention, I'm human resources and I'm a consultant and it's my brand. My consultant business is my brand. So, I have pushed the envelope with my hair color and I have not gotten any pushback about it. It doesn't take away from who I am and what I know, right? And my professionalism. So I continue to present myself in a professional way. Even in my LinkedIn profile picture, you'll notice I just actually changed it, but it's a blazer. It's a lilac blazer and it has like black trim, but my shirt underneath is black. And I keep it professional. I keep how I present myself on LinkedIn professional. So I think it has a lot to do with, like you said, those things, your audience, your brand, but also, how you present yourself, your person to individuals.
Yeah, because when you're also presenting in front of larger corporations, at the end of the day, the powers that be are still old school.
Absolutely.
And so, there's still things that you have to think about when you want those particular contracts, and how you want to show up matters sometimes. Unfortunately, that it's that way.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we have a Crown Act? I mean, why? But here we are. It just is what it is, unfortunately. So
absolutely, and I think. Yeah, and that just brings us back to that DEI. There's an image that you should portray. You want to be professional, and you're saying, well, what is professional? Again, it depends on the industry. So there is a fine line to pushing the envelope and what's really professional. But I don't like to look at the word acceptable, because what's acceptable to one person is unacceptable to another. And I just think that for me and my consultancy, if someone were to frown upon my look, then that's not my client. That's not my client, because there are clients who don't take issue with how I look. They're more concerned with what I know and how I present that information. So if how I look is going to be a deterrent from doing business with me, then you're not my client.
Exactly. Because there's like billions of people in the world, and nowadays even small business has access to the world, and COVID has taught us that. Absolutely. So Sharri, please tell us how we can get in contact with you.
Absolutely. So I can be contacted through my email address. It is 4 Dimensions Group LLC at gmail.com. I can be reached through my website at www.4dimensionsgroup.org, or by phone at 313-575-1268.
And you guys know where you can reach me, Yo-T, at thestyletable.com. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, at The Style Table LLC on YouTube, where you will see Sharri and many other fabulous women talk about their business and their style. See you next time.